Welcome back to Classic Firearms. Today we have the Century Arms AES 10B2. I think I got that right?
That's right, that's right.
Okay, cool. This is kind of the Slavic saw, for lack of a better way of putting it,
Yeah.
and I decided that I would bring our resident AK expert to explain pretty much everything about this. So let's go ahead and dive on in.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt, and I love the AK platform. So this is the Romanian version of a RPK rifle or RPK style rifle. So it is made at the Cougar factory in Romania, and it's basically a variant of the 1963 like Pistolet Militare Scara, which is what the Romanians called the AKM, the Stamped Receiver AK-47, kind of adopted in 1963. And then, as Russian arms developed, one of the things was that Russia wasn't necessarily super prompt about wanting to share new developments. And the RPK was a way to get a squad automatic weapon or even possibly a designated marksmanship kind of rifle when they Russian forces didn't want to share like the PSL. And so what we have is basically an overgrown AK, but beefed up in ways so that it can have sustained longer fully automatic fire.
And I did notice, obviously, we have a longer barrel that's 21.5 inches.
That's right.
Looks like we have a bulge trunnion here. Just some evidence of what you were just saying. It's beefed up and ready to go.
Yeah, so they use the RPK style firearms use a 1.5 millimeter receiver instead of a 1 millimeter thick receiver, just to give it a little bit more rigidity. They use that kind of beefed up front trunnion, where there's going to be more interface between the receiver and the front trunnion, again, just to kind of give it that extra bit of reinforcement for sustained fire. You can see we've got that distinctive clubfoot stock in the back, which is very handy when it comes to things like prone shooting.
Yeah.
Because again, as the usage of the firearm, you're kind of expected to be laying down and providing sweeping fire as a support.
So we have the moon boot on the Scar and the club foot on the RPK. All these are like feet.
I mean, somebody's got a fetish for it. I don't know. We've got the distinctive carry handle here on the rear sight. And speaking of the rear sight, let's fold this down just to make sure you can see it. One of the cool things about RPKs as opposed to regular AKs is that they have a windage adjustable rear sight. So, that way you don't have to use as much kind of Kentucky windage, right? You can actually dial in a windage adjustment. Still have the front sight with an elevation, and you can also drift this barrel here for small amounts of windage, but typically that would be something done at the armorer level as opposed to in the field.
Gotcha. Oh, and one, obvious cool feature on an RPK style rifle of any type is when they come with the bipod that's attached in. I think that's just very cool. It locks up into the, we'll just show it real quick. Cool. Kind of locks up into here if you want to grab that piece.
Yeah, so normally it would kind of lock around this little stud here, and you would fold this little clip up so that it retains the legs together, and everything will stay up here by the barrel. And then, like you said, the bipod is adjustable for height on each leg independently. They've got these little cool skid pads on the bottom. But again, when you go into that kind of like the philosophy of use behind what this rifle is for, you're talking about getting down low and providing either longer range accurate fire than a standard AK because of the longer barrel, or sustained supportive fire.
Speaking of that, it does come with one standard round capacity magazine. It does also come with another thing.
Yeah, it's round. It kind of looks like a clock.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
like
instead of going to 12, I think there's.
But like with something like this that's sticking out the top.
Yeah,
right.
right. And the number 75 is just speaking to me right now.
Yeah, I think we get what we're talking about. Hopefully, anyway.
But yeah, and so again, this thing is, I think it's really cool as a variation of the AK family. If you're looking for something that maybe you can stretch out a little bit further than the 16-inch barrel on a standard AK, or if you just want to kind of complete your collection, like this thing is super cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's an AK, but just on the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And you still get that traditional AK feeling. Obviously, you have the wood furniture. You have the dust cover, very AK feeling. Of course, the whole thing's built as an AK-ish.
Yeah, the internals are all operating the same way. Obviously, it's got a longer gas piston, so this is still a direct gas piston. Long stroke gas piston. So it's directly attached to the carrier. It uses the same type of rotating bolt. It's just that it's got to be longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And the trigger feel, just for those who are curious, or those maybe in maybe a shopping mood, I'm gonna unfortunately cover the trigger up from this angle because it's this thing's very large. It's like what, 40-something inches long total?
It's pretty long.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So again, we are clear. I showed that earlier, but just in case you didn't see it, and the trigger pull, a little bit of movement, a little bit of take up, and keeps going, and bang, right at the back of that, and then on that reset. little bit of movement, and then it kicks you right back out.
So I always found that I like AK triggers as a whole. I
Yeah.
mean, certainly there are better triggers out there when it comes to stock triggers than kind of what's going to come in this rifle. But
Sure.
I've always felt the break on an AK trigger feels pretty crisp, even if there's kind of a lot of travel to
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah. Definitely a little bit of travel, a little bit of grit, but you're not wrong. The break is very clean, very clear. Even the reset was decently crisp.
And really, you can improve a lot of that just with some polishing. I mean, you'll still have the travel, but the grittiness, if you just polish it, you don't want to change any of like the interfacing surfaces, but you will make it feel a lot smoother.
And I assume as you use it, it also will break in a little bit
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
too. So
All right, so you can see on this side of the receiver where there is that AK style optics rail, it allows you to put that mount that will come over the top. So you can put some kind of magnified optic or whatever you want on there, really.
fair enough, fair enough. Now, is there anything else that we haven't covered about this thing?
Again, I don't think so. It's standard 7.62x39 caliber, shoots from standard capacity magazines. But it's just really cool because you can get down on it and just shoot a bigger AK-47.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, and that's pretty much all I had. Again, did you have any other notes, anything you can think of at all?
No, nothing further.
Okay, well, so with that being said, if you have any experiences with a Century Arms RPK of any style, please leave a review down below. We would love to see your comments. That is all I have for you today.
And it is time
To end.